Hello and welcome to our presentation on our paper titled We Try to Empower Them, Exploring Future Technologies to Support Migrant Job Seekers, co-authored by me, Sonja Wang, and Kristen M. Scott, Margarita Artemenko, Milagros Miceli, and Bettina Berendt. First, I would like to talk about profiling through algorithmic decision-making systems or ADM systems and criticism in relation to them. ADM systems have been introduced in many countries worldwide and are designed for various reasons, such as supporting job counselors in their assessment of job seekers and to support decisions on resource allocation, such as funding for further education. There has been criticism both in general terms and in relation to specific systems. An example for such criticism is that an individual's biography, background, and skills are reduced to numerical value or other simplified structure. At FACT 2022, we presented a paper on the job seeker perspective on ADM systems, specifically migrants and refugees perspective. In this paper, we are interested in the question on how design visions for technology for profiling and job search change when developed by people interacting directly and informally with job seekers. Those are workers of non-governmental and non-profit organizations, which we call third sector organizations, or TSO for short, who support job seekers. We investigated the following research questions. Number 1. What role do the TSO workers play in job search for migrants and refugees? Number 2. Which factors do TSO workers deem important for job search and how do they compare to factors ADM systems use for calculation? And number 3, what do TSO workers see as an ideal technological approach to helping job seekers with their job search? Now I want to discuss the access to the German job market for migrants and refugees briefly. The highly formalized German job market often values state-recognized qualifications and academic titles more than practical skills. Migrants and refugees are impacted by non-recognition of degrees, but also by missing diplomas and missing work certificates. There are also laws that forbid refugees from working until a certain time period has passed, which is also an obstacle to entering the German job market. Previous studies found that internships are an important way to enter the job market in Germany and that refugees often obtain their first job through informal means, such as recommendations by acquaintances, but also through TSOs or people who are in the TSOs network. The support TSOs provide for job search is vital as they have connections not only among each other, but also to companies. In addition, they provide help with administrative matters, such as contact with the public employment services. To investigate our research questions, we used two methods. We conducted 13 semi-structured expert interviews with TSO workers from June 2022 to September 2022. These TSO workers are part of organizations that offer services related to job search for migrants and refugees. We used 3 different interview guides depending on the services the organization offered. The second method was design fiction. We received 11 design fictions, and the participants were given material with written instructions, as can be seen on the right. We asked the participants to assume that they are in the year 2050 and that the world and technology have drastically changed. They should, in this scenario, then imagine that they have an object that they can use to support job seekers in their job search or give to job seekers. We asked the participants to provide a description of this object, which could be textual, graphical, or both. We also suggested questions to facilitate the imagination process. An example would be, how does this object interact with you and the job seekers? Our findings from the interviews include that TSO workers take into account some of the factors that PES counselors and ADM systems also use, for example, age, knowledge of the German language, job experience, and education level. However, they go beyond such formal criteria and especially value the willingness to learn new things, motivation, communication skills, and openness towards other people, but also informal job experiences, such as experience in taking care of children. The design fiction proposals contained many different technologies, which were several types of robots, and one of them we can see here on the right, a helmet with sensors, several types of apps, a self-writing and thought-reading pen, VR glasses, smart glasses, and a dictionary for simultaneous translation. These technologies had different functionalities which relate to our interview findings. In our interviews, we found that empowering job seekers through information is very important to TSO workers. Information is related to the entire process of job search, such as ways to find a German language course, but they also provide help with writing application letters and resumes, as resume formats can differ across countries. One of the participants also mentioned giving information on labor laws, such as obligations of both employers and employees. In the design fictions, technologies were supposed to assist job seekers in practical tasks related to job search as well, so the kind of tasks that the TSO workers are currently helping job seekers with, such as resume writing. The VR glasses have a functionality to help with resume writing. And one of the robots is supposed to give information about German culture. We noted that the exploration of strengths and interests is very important to TSO workers, and that this exploration is currently conducted mostly through paper and interview-based methods, and these methods are used during counseling conversations. Many of the design fiction proposals also included technology that is supposed to explore personal interests and strengths of job seekers. However, in contrast to currently used methods, many technologies in the design fictions do not include human-to-human interaction and instead are supposed to recognize interests and strengths automatically. Examples of such technologies are the smart glasses that can parse what job seekers are interested in, and the server which uses a cotton swab for that, and also the sensor helmet which measures brainwaves. The specific visions described by our participants are not entirely feasible given the current state of the art in technology, but we propose a specific technology as focus for future work based on these visions. In our interviews, it was mentioned several times that existing tests on personality and aptitude are very disjointed from each other and of limited use to counselors. So we propose that existing resources on personality and aptitude tests should be put into a richer ontology database that maps existing professions to relevant competencies, also interests of job seekers, and their needs, such as information on education necessary for a certain job. In addition, other tools like resume builders and job explorers should be offered, and we are currently working on a resume building tool. Now we come to my takeaway messages. TSO workers consider, to some extent, factors that ADM systems also consider, for example, age and education level, but they put a much bigger focus on so-called soft skills like the willingness to learn, motivation, and openness towards other people. And also, the envisioned technologies would enable job seekers to do more tasks on their own to empower them. And as we can see here on the right, one of the participants said that not that we overburden him, but that we offer him help where and there what is so beautifully understood by this funny term empowerment, demand from him what he can also do himself. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed the presentation, you can read our paper. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email.